Ladies and gentlemen, innovators, entrepreneurs, and tech enthusiasts, welcome back to another exciting episode of Innovision, your go to podcast for exploring innovation, leadership, and business excellence. I'm your host, Prakhar Sharma, and today we're going to be diving into a very critical section of modern business process excellence and strategic leadership in the IT and supply chain industry. On this episode of our third season, we are absolutely thrilled to have with us Mr. Pankaj Singh. He is the Global Excellence Lead at Mondelēz International, and with over 25 years of experience in IT infrastructure service delivery, project management, and the supply chain operations, Mr. Singh has been at the forefront of driving strategic growth and operational excellence. His abilities span various applications that has helped many businesses to not only just enhance their day-to-day operations, but also gain a competitive edge. And today, we hope to gain an insight over his incredible journey and some challenges that he must have fought along his way, and also his leadership philosophy. So, without further ado, let's begin this episode with Mr. Pankaj Singh. Mr. Pankaj Singh, we're extremely grateful to have you here. Thank you so much for choosing your and your. So, everybody's childhood and their upbringing is a really important and pivotal part of one's life, and it really shapes everybody's mentality and decision making and thinking abilities, etc. So, for us and for the audience to get to know you a bit better, I would like to ask you what kind of core values and life lessons from your childhood still continue to guide you toward through your professional journey.
See, normally as a child, I don't think you think of all this, but then as you grow up, you understand that these things were embedded into your mind, or maybe you call as the main IC of your brain.
Mhm.
And these are inherited from your parents, right? So my parents were basically school teachers or college professors, my dad and mom both. So some of the basic values which I've understood from them is honesty, integrity, and hard work. These were the core things which they taught me, and I think still everyone should teach, and people do that. Every parent tries to does that. So these are the three values which I think are the core.
That is lovely. So, can you share a defining moment from your childhood or early life that deeply impacted your character and your work ethic?
No, absolutely. So I think with my generation, we are the ones who have seen the maximum changes across the globe, not just with our particular country, but across the globe, wherein the technology has rapidly risen. Okay, so when we used to study that those times, we didn't had our Google search or the other mechanism or machinery to check or verify things. So whatever the teachers told, that was like a Bible to us, right?
Yeah.
So the only reference was we had some few books. You can go through that, and it used to be huge. So I'm not talking about the school books; those were still okay. But then during an engineering day, especially, so the one thing which actually I think changed my ways of thinking is without because school and college there is a difference,
Yeah.
right? So in college you can't be dependent completely on your professors.
Right.
So you have to explore your own things. You have to create your own study material. You have to study, learn the concept yourself.
Mhm.
So those things actually made a huge difference in my life when I switched from junior college to my degree engineering. Okay, and that I feel still is valid because even though you have all this mechanism, finally you have to collect all the data, prepare your own things, and then you channelize your mind towards one.
Right, sir. So, how did your upbringing or your family background influence your career choices, or what role model have shaped your journey?
So, frankly speaking, as I told you earlier as well, my parents were from humble teaching background.
Mhm.
So, they were not into technical aspects, anything.
Right, right.
But definitely they wanted their children to excel. So, they were always pushing like we should do something in the engineering sector or somewhere. So, that time, I don't know, these days still we give choices to children, but those times parents used to say something and then we used to blindly follow that. Okay, and it was not wrong because Even today, if you see people, many children or many people tell that, okay, I'm following my passion, but maybe they don't know their passion. Okay. So if you, not everyone can become a Virat Kohli, right? So it's a one in a million probability. So if you have really identified your talent or your passion, you should go with that. Okay. And I think parents will also suggest, support you. But if not, then I think you should follow your parents' instinct. That will also help you. And then there is an age. It's not like once you have not selected something, it cannot go. So you can always change that later on. So you do something which your parents have told. So for me, the main thing was my parents asked me to do engineering, and that was the specific chemical engineering. Right. So it was because they used to feel that chemicals are the part and parcel of world, which were not wrong. Also, that's completely right. And this scope will be valid throughout the next 100 years or so. So that's the reason I entered into this line. But then later on, I changed myself once I saw that okay, this line has definitely the benefits, but there are other lines which will give me more expanded view about the how the world is operating, how the world is changing.
So what exactly struck the change of career path? Like, were there any specific factors, or were you just trying to catch up with the world?
The As I told you, the first choice was not mine.
Mhm.
Doing the chemical engineering, that was purely my parents' choice, and I just followed that. But the next one was my own choice.
Mhm.
It was like after completing 6 years into manufacturing line, I decided to change my line completely. Okay, my core. Uh, but definitely, I wanted to utilize that experience also.
Right.
So what I had seen was there was a wave of ERP implementation which had started that time.
Right.
Okay, and SAP was one of them.
Mhm.
Okay, so I just checked with few friends of mine, did some study, and then did the SAP certification course after leaving my job. That was one of the big risks which I took, but I knew that I had to succeed because there was no turning back. Okay, so understanding the new technologies, going with the best of the technologies which are available, or flowing with the new ways of working of the world, not paper based, because earlier everything was paper based, or maybe something which were done on Excel sheets. Okay,
Right.
but yeah, the world had moved on, and I also wanted to do that. So that was the main thing which I wanted to, because of which I wanted to change.
Right, sir. So even though your previous profession was like a completely different domain in a vastly different area, are there still some lessons and like values that you still use in your current profession?
So as I told you, like whatever 6 years I spent in the core manufacturing and supply chain area, I wanted to carry that forward.
Right.
So that's the reason I did my SAP certification also in supply chain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So those were interdependent. In fact, that point of time, people were not able to understand what are you going to do as a SAP consultant in supply chain. But we were the ones who used to understand the business, map the processes, and put that into the SAP system.
Right.
So that, and without that understanding of the core knowledge, you cannot do that correctly. So that experience helped me, and it continued to help me for the next 10 years, because whichever part of the world I went, I think, see, manufacturing remains the same.
Right.
Okay, the basics, master data, how you are trying to utilize your resources, how you are trying to run your supply chain. The core always remains the same, but then you add new dimensions to that.
Right. Right.
So I have utilized my experience over the 6 years of experience into that very well. As I used to go to any of the factories or any of the offices in at the client side, I used to directly talk in their language, right?
Right. Right.
Because I have been with them playing that role.
Mhm.
So that always used to help me create a very good bonding with those people very fast, which normally others used to struggle because they didn't knew the entire functionality. And manufacturing is a different animal,
Right.
and everybody has to explore, definitely experience that. That's what I would say.
So was there a particularly challenging period in your career, and how did you gain the resilience to overcome it?
See, one of the challenging periods, there were many challenging periods, not one, but one of which I would like to discuss was when I had spent almost 10 years with Accenture, uh, traveling to all these countries. The biggest challenge which I faced was about my family, wherein not every time they can accompany me,
Right, of course.
because of the schools and because of my wife's job, etc. So I decided to switch over, and switch over meaning for to get a job which is much more located in Mumbai and don't have to travel that much, because I had already done the bulk of the travel part. So that experience already I had gained. But moving from that mindset, because if I had to grow, that was required.
Right.
So that was one of the biggest decisions which I took, I think. But I still don't regret that, because I think I've still progressed enough, which I would have done there as well, like continuing with Accenture and then traveling throughout the globe for doing different projects. So main was thing which drove me here was the family. The other factor which I can see is because I had already spent time with the in the manufacturing line, then in the IT sector, in the service industry, basically what we call. Then I wanted to see the business side of any company, how company operates their business, not from the production or from the manufacturing point of view, but from the at a higher level from the business point of view, how what business strategies what they keep, etc. So that was also one of the most important factors why I took that decision and then moved to Mondelēz.
Right. This is actually a great segue because many people, especially in their professional life, they struggle with picking their personal, like, should we pick our personal needs or should we pick our professional needs? So what would be your advice for people who are struggling with that, and what factors did you consider when you took that decision?
See, definitely professional and personal, both these things keep running parallelly. Okay. And especially when you are young, when you start your careers, you have to give more priority to your professional part. Okay. That's how you start.
Yes.
Your family would also be supportive because they also want you to grow. Okay. But as you proceed and as you gain experience, your family grows, then you'll have to start giving time to that first, and then family comes first. Then. Plus, with the experience, I think you can manage your time very well. And if people are not able to manage, you have to seriously look into their jobs, what they are doing.
Right.
Okay. So both should run parallel for sure. You cannot give priority to one always. But yes, at times you have to give priority to your family, and at times you have to give priority to your profession.
Right.
That's how you should keep the balance.
Right.
There are multiple ways to do that, but that's how we should proceed.
Understood, sir. So how do you approach decision-making process in moments of uncertainty? And what's your personal philosophy in for taking risks in your career?
See, decision making definitely is a very essential part of the entire professional journey, and not just from your personal point of view, but also as you're working, you have to take a lot of decisions, and as you move up the career with the roles which you get, you will have to take a lot of decisions. So there, the criteria is first thing is just check whether what value addition those things. If you want to, for example, just an example I will give you, like you want to bring a new, say, application in your company. Okay. So what value addition is it bringing to your company? You should not be just doing things just for the sake. Okay, because some other company is doing and you are also doing. No, just understand whether it is actually required by your company. First thing, that is very top. Now, second is what is the ROI, return on investment.
Right.
So if you are not getting that, even if it is like just giving some help to your business, that doesn't make sense unless and until you have other valid reasons. The next part would be how fast you can implement. Okay, and whether it is as fast wherein you can fail and then rise again. It should not happen like wherein you are running a 2 years project, you fail, then there is no going back. So it is better to start with a small pilot. Okay, implement that, see the response. But before you do that, do your analytics properly. Collect all the data. What is required to take those decisions, right? And post that, then success is mostly guaranteed. But be ready for failures as well. Failures are the part of life, and if you don't take a risk, it is not going to work. You cannot be like 100% sure and without any risk you can work. No, you have to take a risk, but that has to be very calculated.
Right, right.
So that's what I would suggest, and that's what I do. I take risk, but it's a calculated risk. There are multiple ways how to do mitigate. You need to have a backup strategy, because if things fail, then you should not be like just left right. You should know what is my next backup plan, right? Or maybe if something you have done and you want to roll it back, how you can do that. So the least the business is impacted in your professional life, that actually will.
Right.
So these should be the basic things which I normally do.
So you also took a big, huge risk, as you said earlier, by changing your career path. So did you also assess all these risk factors, and did you also have a backup prepared?
See, sometimes in life, when you are desperate for certain things, don't keep a backup. That's what I feel.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And this is I'm talking about life.
Right.
I'm not talking about your professional, because there it is your company's money which is at stake. Here it's your personal money, right? So it is up to you. How do you want to proceed?
Right.
Professionally, I've already explained you what we have to do. But then personally, if you keep a backup, always at the back of the mind, you know that okay, there is a backup. I will just go there if something doesn't work.
Right. Right.
Right. That should not be the option. So I would have taken a leave of a month or two from my existing job and done this job, right? Or done this course. But I did not do that.
So,
I just resigned and then came back to Mumbai, then started doing the certification. So when you are left with no other option, your focus is very clear.
right.
You know you cannot fail, you have no option of failing, then you will always do the right things.
So give your 100% to just
100%
that one
towards
thing.
one thing. Yeah.
Right.
Then later on you have multiple things if you want to do. Okay.
Right. Right.
And it is not like you cannot go back to that company, okay, though that industry again. But it is not worth it unless and until you are fully focused, you are just wasting your time on the new thing. Right.
Right.
So just be fully focused there.
So supply chain management and process optimization are a very central concept to modern business operations. So I'd love to hear your approach about so how do you introduce fresh ideas and like innovative ideas and technology without disrupting the daily flow of operations? Because obviously it can be a little challenging to involve innovations and new technologies by keeping the process steady and efficient. So I'm curious about how you find that balance in the work environment.
See, supply chain and process excellence, these are two completely different things.
Right, right,
Supply chain is something which every company has to do as a part of their operations to ensure that their goods are moving properly, they are having a healthy inventory, they are actually able to supply materials to their customers on time, in the right quantity and with the right quality. While process excellence is something which you have already implemented and you want to just continuously improve. Okay. Now, how do we take care of supply chain? Now, supply chain is completely has changed. Okay, you cannot be just going with your vanilla supply chain. It is all digitalized. If you still want to continue that way, I think you have already lost the race.
right.
So each and every company, they have done digitalization towards this and reap the benefits. Okay. So just as an example, like if you see, if you are in, for example, I am working for an FMCG sector, which is the food manufacturing.
Right.
There we have all our products are having very short shelf life. It is perishable good. So you cannot just maintain inventory, huge inventory for all these materials, right? If you have materials like your cars or your bikes, etc., still you can keep for a larger time, right? But we are into sector wherein this becomes very important. So how much you produce, and how much you sell, that is very important. So we are using all these digital demand management techniques for predictive analysis. They are doing the predictive analysis and then suggesting the actual demands which should be raised.
Right.
So first thing is your core things should run, as you asked. Your core things should not get affected by these new developments, the continuous improvement part. Okay. So you have to ensure that those things are running, but then you have parallel, small continuous improvement objectives which are running in parallel, wherein you try to find out what advantages they are giving,
Right.
okay, to your industry.
Right.
And definitely you can just keep rolling that. So you need to have an agile mindset, okay, by which you can easily absorb whatever is working fine, you can easily absorb in your running business. So that's how I think you should approach. And then process excellence is one of the important factors, because you can implement certain things, but then if it is not monitored, or people tend, like after a few months or something, they just lose the focus, they are doing something else. So that process excellence part actually keeps them on their toes, wherein they know that these things are monitored. And whatever you are doing, whatever you have developed, whatever you have invested, you are actually utilizing that for the benefit of the company. Right. So these two things keep running parallelly, and you have to do that, okay, along with your normal main business.
Right. So in your opinion, what are the top 3 skills that anybody working in supply chain management or process excellence for that matter, which they should develop?
The first thing is ready to adopt the changes, as I mentioned earlier. So with the world having a plethora of these digital techniques which have been come, right? So you see the different AI or machine learning techniques which are available, which can be used in supply chain. And just to give an example, like in Mondelēz, we were facing problems with the transportation of our material, okay, which was, some of our products actually are temperature sensitive.
Yes.
So basically silk. Okay, so that is one. So it will, if you are not transporting that into a closed environment or a temperature controlled environment, it used to just lose its shape. Okay, material will not get spoiled, but the shape will be lost.
Right.
Now you are not going to, if you are going to a retail store and you want to buy a chocolate, and when you open that wrapper and you see a plain chocolate, no Cadbury mentioned or nothing mentioned, you're not going to buy that. Or maybe because you have bought that, but next time you're not going to buy. So you want to ensure that everything is maintained. So, but this was not, so even though we had contracts with our vendors or our transport partners to do all this in a refrigerated environment, they were not doing it properly. Or sometimes they're not storing it properly.
Right.
So we introduced IoT devices which used to send us the temperatures of the, when it was getting transported. Or you would have seen in the retail stores, there are visi-coolers.
Right.
There are machines.
Right.
So which actually, wherein you can see all the materials, all our products are kept. So there are IoT devices there which sends temperature to our partners, whom we have allocated this job. They keep monitoring that.
Right.
So if it goes below, then we penalize the retailers.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So what I mean to say is, like, we have to be ready with these technologies, adoption of these technologies, right? Which will actually help you do your job much more in an easier fashion and much more precisely. Because if you're caught into small things, small such things, and this was one of the things which came up, I think, years ago, if you remember, there were worms found in chocolate. Right?
Yes.
So the problem was not our product. The problem was how they were kept. Right? So we have this simple solution of using these technologies, wherein we are monitoring each and everything now. Okay? And that has kept all these things away. So first thing is ready for a change. Second, be inclusive. Okay? How wherein if something is coming up or your company is running a new program, try to get a part of that and be inclusive with the other team members.
Right.
You should not be driving that alone. Okay, team always succeeds. That's what is the mantra these days. Because it's not small. You might be the expert, best expert is that, but then share your knowledge. That will help the other team members also to cover up their part and do the things in much more better fashion.
Right.
Third is, I think, be ready to fail. That is very important. Because every time if you are working for a success, it's not 100% guaranteed every time. So taking risk and be ready for failures is definitely required. But then you should also have your plans ready. It cannot be like, okay, boss, fail ho gaya, then you're doing nothing. No. You have to immediately take actions. So that's the reason I told you, like, you have to do the pilot work first, and then prove that, okay, this is working. Then ensure that those things are working continuously for years, and then you scale up that part.
So, like you've just mentioned that your storage facilities had like the company installed IoT devices so that you can keep track of the temperatures. So are there any other emerging technologies that can be useful? For example, we are in a day and age where embedded systems are so AI heavy. Like the OS is not even hardwired on them. It's just software. It's just AI. And also, we always talk about the positive sides that these emerging trends of technologies will bring. Are there any negative and bad impacts also?
Yeah, so I will just answer your first part initially. So there are different, all these technologies are definitely used. One of them is the AR one. So you would have seen, like, when you enter a supermarket, certain materials are kept in a certain manner, and those are always kept at some materials are always kept at the desk where you are actually doing your final payment, etc. Right? So it's called as an impulsive buying technique.
Right.
Okay. So you have to ensure that these materials will always be placed at the last desk where you are making the payments, wherein people are just, they will do some impulsive buying and then they buy their products. Right. So now this is just one technique I'm telling. But we also monitor how our materials are placed or how our products are placed inside the entire supermarket. Okay, at your eye level or whether it is kept at the ground level. Okay, and how it will look. So you cannot be going into each and every supermarket and trying out those things, right? So we have these AR devices, which actually, when you try that, you can easily see how they are going to look like into that market, into that supermarket, or in that store. So we utilize that. Okay. Each and every packet, how it is kept, where it should be kept, on which shelf, all those are tracked. Now we also have, like, if you just spend maybe few seconds on that shelf, we are tracking that. And okay, people were interested in this. Maybe they did not buy, but they were interested.
Right.
So this, we are not tracking directly, but then we have other companies, other agencies who are doing this. Okay, there are different techniques of how we study the pattern, the buying pattern of people. Okay, so this is all like captured, and then we use that data for our own pushing our demand, which sector, which particular duration, when we want to do that. So you won't believe the amount of data which we are collecting. Now coming to the second question on the flip side. Yes, there is a flip side. Sometimes it actually, like, you may feel that it is breaching your privacy. Right? Of course. I don't want to be, but this is not actually. So there are terms and conditions defined. So we are not capturing your personal data. We are not capturing your personal things. This is all data collection, but people feel like, okay, no, I am being monitored every time. Right. But that's how it is. The world is going. In fact, you find CCTVs everywhere. You cannot go unnoticed. If you are doing the right things, I don't think you have to worry about. Even your mobile data, etc. I think you give to hundreds of people, right? Yes. So it is already available. Yeah, we do understand it. No one should misuse that. That is very important. So that, at least the big companies, they have taken care of that part. You see the amount of money they spend into this data protection, okay, is tremendous. So flip side is there for sure. Then there are other things wherein sometimes the way the technologies are the evolution is happening, things become redundant very soon.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So the companies have to cope up. Big companies do that, but smaller companies sometimes struggle to do that. Right?
Right.
So these are some of the flip sides also which you can see.
Right. So how do you ensure that your team remains agile and adaptable, especially in industries where innovations is like rapidly changing the landscape?
See, you will have to be very careful about how you choose your team.
Right. Correct.
Okay, that's earlier those days are gone when someone used to just push people that okay, these are your people and you work with them.
Mhm.
Nowadays we pick people who has to work with us. So according to me, the team has to be a perfect blend of experienced
Mhm.
with energy. Okay, and energy. I'm not saying the experienced person doesn't have energy,
Mhm.
but then energy mostly comes with the youth. Okay, so you have to use them and the their passion for learning something new always. So you have to get some people at junior level who are actually very passionate about their work to learn new things.
Right.
So keep a blend of the mix of these people, and I think that really helps. So some person actually they will bring new things like these new guys. They normally bring new things in your uh, with new ideas into your picture,
Mhm.
while the other person will just guide them like these things will work, these things won't work, or whatever they will draw boundary lines, right? Because not everything can be adopted for
Right.
sure.
Right.
Because you already have your running business. As per your previous question, I think I answered that.
Yes.
Your business is running, you don't want to disrupt that, right? So whatever ideas, whatever innovations you want to do should actually just add on and help those things, right?
Mhm.
They should coexist. You cannot just bring anything in the system and which causes a disruption.
Right.
So having a perfect blend with this within the team is very important. This is what I feel.
Understood.
And the right culture which you have
Of
to
course.
build in the team.
So obviously you lead and manage a team which may work in like people may work in different time zones in different countries. So what is your leadership philosophy and how has it evolved as you've managed these teams across diverse regions?
See, when you are actually leading teams across geographies, okay, not just India, and this has actually picked up in the last decade or so
Right.
very rapidly.
Right. Right.
You will find Indian bosses
Mm-hmm.
leading Europeans
Mm-hmm.
or US people or maybe from other parts of world. So when you are doing that or when you are playing that kind of a role, so what I think is, and whenever you travel to those countries, you should feel as a brand ambassador of your own country. Is
Right.
what my thinking is. So you have to behave in a manner, or your work ethics has to be in a manner wherein that person doesn't just appreciate you, but also appreciates your entire country. Okay, you cannot be just going and cribbing about things like, okay, oh man, there is a heavy traffic in Mumbai,
Right. Right.
very life is hell. No, it
Right.
is there. You don't know the problems which they are facing.
Mm-hmm.
They have their own problems, right? They are not going to crib you about those things. So same thing. You just talk about the positive things, what is happening. Problems are there in each country, right? So that is one.
Yes.
So how when you are interacting with those guys, you have to make yourself as idol, right? Or as a part of your country, what you are representing. Second thing is very important to understand their culture as well. I'm talking about the other geographies.
Right.
It can be within India also, as you see how many different cultures are there.
Yes, yes.
So if you're talking to someone from South India, you have to understand the way they speak, etc. You cannot be just making fun of that,
Yes. Sir.
right?
Of course.
Or maybe someone from North India because of their dialect or because of their language. You cannot be just. So you have to be very sensitive about these things,
So.
especially with the people from Europe or from US.
Mm-hmm.
They have a very straight mindset. They cannot think like us. Okay, it is not either wrong nor the right.
Right.
We are also right. They are also right. So you have to understand their culture, how they work, and then act accordingly.
Right, sir.
Okay, and maybe one thing which I always feel is uh, humor is a part of life. Okay. So if you are having that fun element
Mhm.
along with the humor, I think that helps us to bond very fast. So within any team, that should be there. If you are actually behaving like a very serious guy, can be either junior or senior, it doesn't help.
You might become monotonous.
Yes.
Right.
So that's the icebreaker in most of the cases.
Right.
Right. So you cannot be just going too much, doing that too much,
Mhm.
because then you won't be taken seriously. Right. But that bite has to be there.
Right.
So perfect mix of all these things, I think, makes the right team.
Right, sir. So how do you manage to inspire and motivate your global teams, especially in times of high pressure or change?
See, these days changes are a part of life. So definitely that people have to understand that. But then some people don't do that.
Right.
So keeping the team motivated all the time is a must.
Mhm.
So few things like you have to, when you explain them the need of those change,
Mhm.
because many a times people don't have, they have not understood exactly why we are changing,
Right.
or some things which they were doing maybe for 10 years, why this has changed. So if you're explaining the benefits, why it is happening, and how, what it will do good for them,
Mhm.
what value addition will they get. Okay, sometimes it can be as simple as you will learn this new skill, so your market value improves. Okay, that has to be explained.
Right.
So these things actually just keep the team motivated, not just one part, but and also create a sense of belonging, okay, for those team members. Like in a team of 10 members, and if you feel two people are not responding that much, don't isolate them.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
just keep them involved. Sometimes just have some sessions which are generic,
Right.
okay, not related to the work.
Mhm.
See their involvement, okay, and then somehow they will get involved. So all these are different techniques how you can actually motivation. So money is not the factor, I'm telling you very clearly.
Right.
Like you just offer something, okay, next year I will promote you. No, never do that. We never do that.
Right.
That's a very clean policy from our side. We can try to help you in your career growth, but we cannot do promises.
Right.
So don't do false promises. Connect with them. Have a regular connect with them. These are the things which can, by which you can actually keep your team motivated.
Understood, sir. So I want to delve more in the life and career balance topic. So how do you personally strike a balance between your demanding professional responsibilities and your personal life? And has this balance changed over the time or over the course of your career?
See, I never consider work-life balance as the word, but
Right.
my thought process is more around like it is a work-life integration kind of a thing.
Right.
So it is like at what point of time you want to prioritize what. That
Mhm.
is more important. You cannot have always your family at the top level, because normally people do that, and we should also do that. I'm not saying no. But then there are times wherein your company needs you more.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So at those point of time, and unless and until there is a super urgency, I
Mhm.
think you should prioritize your work. So that's one. Second part is while you are maintaining this balance, you should also ensure that where you are working, okay, which part of the country or which country you're working.
Mhm.
I'll give you an example. I've seen many people in IT industry specifically. Uh, After they spend 5-10 years, they feel like when they're working with Europeans or maybe from UST or someone else, they feel I should also follow their lifestyle. I will cut off after 5 p.m.
Right.
Okay. I won't be reachable on the weekends.
Mhm.
Okay. Because that's what they do. They're not wrong. That's how their culture has been built up. Now, if you want to follow the same thing here, it's not going to work.
Right. Of course.
You're born in India, right? There is a stiff competition. So in this college itself, you see, right, how many people are there.
Yes.
So if you are not ready to do something, there are 10 different people who are going to replace you, which doesn't happen there.
Sir.
So there will be either one-to-one or maybe no one can directly compete with you.
Right.
So they can have that kind of a liberty
Mhm.
or a luxury. You cannot have that. So all these factors, do affect your working style, etc. So keep a tab of those. This is what I would say.
Right, sir. So how do you personally disconnect from work to recharge and stay focused, particularly in a role that spans international teams?
See, the best stress buster is connecting with your friends. That's what I
Right.
So, and you need to have the right friends.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Normally, you will find hundreds of people who are interacting with you. Not everyone is that close, right? So, some people are just for generic high vibe. Okay. But then when you have your those core people, so these are the people whom you actually, when you sit with them, you enjoy. So that's the best stress buster because normally in your daily life, the it is so monotonous and so stressful at times that you need these kind of gatherings or connections with your friends. You just have a word with them. Sometimes you just talk for 30 minutes. That will help. Those people should be really real. Okay, they should not be taking advantage. And this is how you gain experience when you start your career or when you start your college. College life is completely different. Industry life is something right. So you have to understand how they which ones to choose. They will have their own plus and minus. Okay, you cannot just reject them just because of their minus, but then you cannot just accept because they have some positive.
Right.
So that balance has to be there. So those groups are formed that way. So that is the most important thing which you should do. Okay, friends, talk. No need to use the social media.
So
Social media, you'll find hundreds of thousands of followers. So those are all just because they want to take something out of you, or they want to get some help from you, maybe because of that. Second part is if you have some passion towards, say, sports, etc. Do that, play that, or that is the real special also. One of the things. Mostly people have that, right? So do play some games, etc. Third, of course, is spending time with your family. Right? These three things I feel are the best things to do in your free time, or take time, especially not just wait for the free time, but take some time out from their normal routine.
Right. So, what legacy do you hope to leave in your professional field, particularly in areas like supply chain optimization?
See, as we work for MNCs now, we are using, and we keep on continuously developing new ideas, new processes. But our companies actually can manage this, right? Okay, very easily because we are giants. We have a lot of budget. We can try this out. But what I would think of, like after 10 years, maybe we are able to also help the smaller industries, right? That way, right? So something which we do, we push this to the smaller players who can also utilize these digital techniques. There are things which they can use for sure. I am not saying everything is expensive, but then they should be able to also adapt the things which are available only to the big players. So that's one. Right. Other things is definitely like experience of the people. Okay. That also. Whatever you are learning, whatever you have gained throughout your entire career, you should impart that knowledge, okay, to your peers, to your other colleagues, or maybe to generic people. Go to colleges, attend conferences, wherever, but impart that knowledge which will help others. These kind of not legacy. We are not so big people, but everybody should do that. So as a part of their social life, right? And not just the experience what they're getting through the Indian industry in supply chain or in the process excellence, anywhere, whatever they have learned in the life, just they should share those things, which will help the next generation.
So can we discuss more about, sir, your vision about the current supply chain industry? So how is it different from how it was working in the past, and how do you see it evolving in, like, say, the next decade?
See, when we started working in the 90s, basically, at least when I started in 1995, 1999, sorry. So that time things were much more manual, even though the computers were available, but it was still like mostly manual paperwork.
Right.
But then we have seen emergence of these ERP systems, SAP, Oracle, PeopleSoft, many other technologies. So which has actually changed the way we operate. And also it has brought in a lot of transparency, which was not there with the paperwork. Right? It does your work much faster and a much more transparent manner and much more in an accurate fashion. So the key difference is emergence of these technologies, and now we see the new wave which is coming in with all this deep learning, machine learning, wherein if you see machines are automatically generating or creating messages that I need this maintenance because I have run this many hours or some things have burned out, right? Or digital twins kind of a thing. You see how we try that. So your actual model is not affected, but you see everything. You can try out things on the twins and then find out problems over there and then rectify that. So all this emergence of technologies actually has really helped. So just one example which I would like to give is the way we are doing our demand management. Earlier it was all like basically just based on your past sales history, whatever you have done in the last 3-4 years, and you just then run some programs, etc., and then you calculate your demand. But now it has completely changed. So emergence of these new predictive analysis techniques, etc., has changed the way we actually see the world, or calculating all the data, as I explained you earlier.
Yes.
The data which you are capturing actually drives the demand. Okay. So we know specific markets, specific segments, specific part type of part of the year, how the demand is going to change. So these are all the things which I would suggest, like is actually driving this part.
Right. So for aspiring leaders in the field or people who are just entering their professional life, what are the top pieces of advice that you would offer about navigating their career path successfully?
For people who are entering into this line, first thing is, I think I already explained certain things, but first is be prepared for adapting new things and work hard. That is because you have no escape over there.
Right.
You just cannot be escaping the work, right? Because there are people who are actually trying to do this and they have never succeeded.
Right.
Okay. You may try to hide away from this for a few days, but then eventually you will be caught.
Right.
So that's one. Second part is just behave like what you are actually are. Don't imitate, because the world is not a fool. Okay. We can catch you very easily what you're trying to do.
Right.
Maybe not on the day one, but on the second day. So if you're trying to imitate certain things, it is not going to help. So and concentrate on your strengths.
Right.
Okay. Whatever, you might be the best footballer, but if you are right now asked to do something else, that day you have to do that thing. Right? So, but you have to tell very clearly that I am only a very good footballer. It doesn't mean that I will be best in here, but I will try my best.
Right.
That should be your approach.
Right.
Okay. And same thing applies for your industry work as well. So you might be best in one technologies, but if you're asked to do something in a company, then you should be able to do that with the full justice. Okay, you might fail also, that's okay, but then you should give your 100%. That's the most important thing.
Right.
So my guidance would be like, gel with the people, do hard work, be ready for change. That is very important.
So would you like to give a closing message to the audience and for all the people that are just going to start out their professional journey? And
yes, see, very simple. Keep it simple, first of all. Don't complicate things. Be ready to work hard. That's very important. Be competitive. Just don't stay idle. Try to learn new technologies. There are ample ways these days of how you can actually be with the best of the world. Try to learn new things always, and keep yourself updating. Like you update your mobile software,
Right.
same way you have to update yourself. You cannot be the same for next 5 years, 10 years.
Right.
That you will be redundant, right? So just keep updating yourself. Enjoy life. Enjoy the work. Mainly, that's very important. Don't take too much stress. This is what I would say.
So-
Because this side of the life, many people say that okay, it is very tedious, it is very stressful. But when you start enjoying your work, I think that's the best you can do justice for yourself.
Right, sir. Right, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Most welcome.
As we wrap up this enlightening discussion with Mr. Pankaj Singh, I hope you all have gained valuable insights into the world of IT infrastructure and supply chain management, and in general, the importance of process excellence in driving global success. I would like to extend EC's gratitude to you for choosing to spend your afternoon with us. It's been a great conversation, and I hope all our audience feel the same as well. Mr. Singh's incredible journey and his approach to leadership offer important lessons for anyone looking to excel in today's rapidly changing business environment. A huge thank you to Mr. Pankaj Singh for sharing his valuable insight and experience in the industry with us. I am Prakhar Sharma, and it's been an absolute pleasure hosting this episode of Innovision. And to our amazing listeners, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so that they don't miss any other upload and any other sessions like this.